Hello all, my name is Bilal from the process mining team here at ServiceNow, and welcome to our use case series. These use cases are real examples that came from real customers, as always. Whenever something interesting like this is brought up to our attention, I like to share it with you all as how we achieve this type of analysis using process mining. Today, we are going to quickly look at a feature that I've shown before, but with a very relevant use case in mind. I had a couple of customers ask me a few weeks ago, Bilal, would we be able to use process mining to identify who's really breaching the SLAs? And I had to stop and ask, what do you mean by that, right? They went on to explain that a lot of teams often report that while, yes, they are breaching SLAs, it's really because that ticket is being transferred to them super late. Sometimes within minutes of the SLA actually breaching. These teams were getting frustrated because they were the ones getting dinged as breaching the SLA, when in reality another team or multiple teams held on to that work for 99% of the time and gave it to them last second. I thought this was the perfect use case for some more complex, in quotes, not really that complex transition filters. We worked through it, and every customer I've shown this to ever since has been pretty blown away. So let's take a look at how easy it really is. So, as always, have my handy dandy process map here on screen. What I mined was the incident table, and then I included the task SLA table on the side so that I can see, while I can see my incident process, I can also see where in my process I'm breaching my SLAs, whether I'm breaching it after a certain state or maybe after a certain transfer or handoff from another team. You can see I've included both assignment groups and activities and states in my activities here. Now, to build this type of analysis, it's actually relatively simple. You just have to know where to go. So in order to identify, hey, the scenario where team X is holding on to work for a certain amount of time, they transfer it to team Y, and after team Y transfers it, immediately within an hour, 2 hours, however, whatever we want to specify, that SLA is breaching, right? And to do that, we're going to go down here to our advanced filters. We're going to click on the transition filter here. And we're going to start building out this very specific condition or very specific behavior that we're looking for, right? So in our case, we're going to look for assignment group. And in this case, we can just specify is anything. We can add next activity, eventually followed by, so at some point, this assignment group is transferring it to assignment group is anything. And you can do is anything to is anything. It's always going to basically say is anything else, right? So something that's different than this group. So it's never going to say group X to group X. It's going to say group X to group Y or Z or A or B or C or D or what have you, right? And then we're going to add one more activity, and this is where the trick comes into play. When we have those two maps that I showed you, right, we had the incident table and the task SLA table, we can actually build these transition filters between those tables. So I want to find out everything where it's going from group X to group Y or any other group, directly followed by the SLA is breached, right? So task SLA is breached. And I want to specify this, right? Because, this could happen in an ideal world. This is normal, right? Maybe, group X gives it to group Y and group Y holds it for a very, very long time and then they breach their SLA. So I want to specify this behavior happening, right? Group Y gets it and then it breaches, but I want to specify that it's going to happen really fast. So between step 2 and step 3, I want to see everything where this happens between 1 minute and 60 minutes, right? So or 1 hour in this case, right? So now I'm going to summarize this again here, right? This is going to find me all the cases where assignment group X is holding onto the work, transferring it to assignment group not X, assignment group Y, and then within 1 hour, that breach is happening, right? And we can change this, we can adjust this to be 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 days, whatever you want, right? Whatever constitutes a short amount of time for this SLA to breach. And I'm going to hit apply. And you can see here in my demo data, which I don't have a lot of, there were 4 records where this was the case, where help desk held onto the work for a very, very long time. They transferred it to service desk. Service desk breached the SLA within an hour, right? They didn't have it for a very long time. And then the rest of the process continued, right? So in this case, service desk is not going to be very happy with help desk, but service desk is going to be the one on all the dashboards and on all the naughty lists saying that, hey, they keep breaching their SLAs. And what we've been finding is, if we go to what we've been finding is that, for sometimes that this behavior is okay, right? So for example, for P1 incidents or things like that, the SLAs are often really tight and it's often like bouncing between different teams. And that's fine, right? Like, so this behavior could be okay with certain priority levels of these incidents or cases or what have you, right? But what I've been finding with a lot of my customers is this is happening very often on P5s, P4s, P3s, when in reality, and what they're saying is this should never happen with P3s and below, right? So just a really quick use case on how to identify, hey, who's really breaching the SLA? I know our reporting and our dashboards might tell us that in this case, Service Desk is breaching these SLAs, but who's really holding on to that work the longest, which is ultimately resulting in this task SLA breach. So just a hopefully very quick and hopefully very easy way to kind of build these more advanced transition filters across tables, and kind of one of the many uses for what we call multi-dimensional maps, right? Having all these subsequent child tables involved with the main parent table that you're mining. So hope this was helpful. Thank you all for listening in. If you have any questions, please feel free to let us know, reach out to us, and on the community blogs, we answer all the questions and we check them every day. So thank you all for your time. Have a great day.